Guys, please give it up for Slim. Let's join us on the podcast. How do you find doing like these podcast things? Because I feel like you're quite an old school man, Slim. Do you know what I mean?
It's new, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is new, this podcasting. Yeah, I'm in my 50s, so podcasts are what? 8 years old? 10, maybe?
I'd say about 10, 15 years, yeah.
10, properly. Where people started to
like
watch
they
it.
was around. Do you know what I mean? Like you'd see them on like if you got like an iPhone and stuff, but I don't think we really cared until, do you know what I mean? It was like, okay, cool, this is a thing that you can tap into.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you ever get nervous when you do podcasts? Because I feel like on stage, as a comic, I seen you on stage, I think when I was probably, thank you, Gilligan. I think I seen you on stage when I'd say I was 17, and I mentioned it in my book, and I mentioned it when you done my documentary as well. Like you just felt like the people's comic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and you just didn't seem nervous. You seem very fearless. So like, whenever you do these things, you ever get nervous? Because it must be different from doing stand-up, no?
You get nerves for, I think, most things you do, because it's almost a test. Even going on stage is a test for us.
Yeah.
So it's the feeling of wanting to do good. It's like the audience, you know, they would have taken some form of test, whether it be driving test, exams, but you get that little butterfly in your belly. Because obviously, you know, you got the test, you want to do well. And I feel like that every time I go on stage. But I've learnt to use it to my advantage. Does that make sense? I'm never terrified, but you still want to do well. The fearless part, you've got to go out. Once you walk from behind the curtains, you've got to show a certain fearlessness, because it's literally a room full of strangers that you've got to entertain and get immediate response from as well. So it is a challenge, but you've got to be fearless in your challenge. And I think after you kind of get the first couple of pays, I won't lie. Do you know what I mean? You think, wow, they give you this much. I was on stage 10 minutes. I'd have to work all day for this shit. Yeah, the fear goes. It does, it goes.
I remember when we done a show for Real Deal Comedy Jam, actually, and I remember you was headlining, and I don't know if you remember this, but I think we might have been in Leeds, and I think your phone broke and you had to go to, I think it might have been like a CX to buy a phone. And like, I remember that weekend, because there was a few shows that I would work with this comedy production called Real Deal Comedy Jam. You kind of get booked for like I'd probably say like it'd always be like a week where there's always a bank holiday. Yeah. So you might do a show on Thursday night, it might be Good Friday, and then they might do another show on Saturday, Sunday. So I think we went to Leeds, and then Saturday we might have been in Nottingham, and then Sunday we'd finish in Birmingham. I think it was Rosie's. And I remember that weekend, you kind of took me under your wing, not in a sense of you didn't mean to, but you just did. You're just one of those, you're a comics comic, I would say. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, it felt like I was with my dad, because the way you would roll, the way Slim rolls, because I remember you just had a bunch of cash, because when you do a lot of these shows, you get paid in cash, innit? Yeah. And then we went to CX and he's like, yeah, man, let me just buy a fucking phone, man. This phone not working. But like, you've always been like a comics comic. You talk about your parents a little bit, sometimes in your stand-up, about being, you know, from Jamaica, you got it on your top today and stuff. Do you know what I mean? How much did that instill in you in terms of the Slim that we know before you was a comic? Because you know what I mean? Because your name's Danny, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But everyone would just, I feel like we call you Slim, do you know what I mean? No I feel disrespectful calling you Danny, I'm not going to lie.
Seriously?
Yeah.
No, I was born to older parents. My mum had me when she was 43, I think, and my dad was like 50. Do you know what I mean? So proper old parents. So it was almost like, I grew up with my grandparents. Do you get what I mean? So there's certain, I don't know, most probably lessons they taught me, because they was further along the line in life and more wisdom, And do you know what I mean? Because my mum was a calm person. It's like the other day I thought about it, and I thought, the whole of my life, I never ever saw my mum get in an argument. Not once. Not with her sisters, siblings, my dad. No, she was just that calm person. Do you know what I mean? My dad, he was like everybody's friend. So I think I got a mixture of both of them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as well, being Jamaican, I think as well, because people always say, oh, you're quite approachable. I don't know if you ever get that. They say, oh, you're quite approachable. I don't know what that means. I'm a comedian, but you do get that. They say, oh, you're really approachable and all that. But, growing up with the right parents, 'cause I don't want to say it's a Jamaican thing, but obviously I grew with Jamaican parents. And Jamaican people on the whole, they're actually glad for your success. They don't like you to be braggadocious with it, though. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You can be good at something, but don't be braggy to the community you're from. Like, I'm the best shit and blah blah. So you just, no matter what talent you got or what you bring to the table, you recognise it, but you're just calm with it. Yeah. So I think maybe that's why the younger comics coming up. I was that younger comic coming up. My immediately elders in the comedy world were everybody from like the Real McCoy. If you don't remember the Real McCoy, that was so, there were the Curtis Walkers and the Felix Dexters and all that. So, I knew how it felt to be the young one, and they welcomed me with open arms. I got a lot of encouragement and that from all the comics themselves individually, at some point have come and gave me words of encouragement. So seeing younger comics come through, knowing how the industry can be, if I can make them feel a bit comfortable by maybe giving some words, advice, or I'm always up for that. I'm that kind of person.
Yeah, I think very early on in my journey, because I'd seen you at it was around the corner actually. Where was it? It was Deptford, the theatre just up the road in Deptford.
What is
I forgot
that
the name of the theatre.
There you go.
Albany,
yes.
Albany. Thank you, person from the audience. Appreciate that. But I seen you at the Albany, and then to be that, because I feel like what happens when you're on the black comedy circuit, you can go from doing 2 shows and you do all right, and before you know it, you're on a lineup with like yourself, Richard Blackwood, Kane, Jeannie Yashere, like within 2 or 3 shows.
Yeah.
That don't happen on the mainstream circuit.
No.
Do you know what I mean? There's no way you start doing 3 shows and then you're like, right, boy, Michael McIntyre we went Carphone Warehouse and he was playing the phone. I just don't think that happens. And I feel like it's really beneficial that people like yourself like are around a lot of the younger comics like myself at that stage where it's like you guys don't put an arm around us, but I don't know, it's just the way that you lot move, whether it's like your craft of on stage and how you are off stage is like, oh right, like I feel like I know this man. Do you know what I mean? I don't feel like he's a comedian and I've got to sit there and study the game and stuff. He's just like, oh right, this is a cool guy, man. I can't wait to see him again at another show. Do you know what I mean? So how did your comedy journey start? Because you went on stage, was it 93 at Hackney Empire?
Yes.
And performed to like 1,500 people, even though you'd never done stand-up before.
I know.
That's mad, bro.
I know. Sometimes you got friends that can push you into. You ever got a friend convince you to do something? And it's a bit like that, and it just worked out for me. I mean, we've all seen people that's gone on to like shows like the X Factor and these kind of. And I saw Simon ask the guy one time, Who told you to? And you could see the guys, my mates in the pub. And you could see it was a bit simple. And what they've done, they've hyped him up. Do you know what I mean? And he's gone on stage, and he was actually terrible, but he's
yeah.
So Curtis hyped me up like that. But I don't know if he was setting me up. I think what it was, I was hanging around with Curtis and Ishmael for maybe a year, going comedy shows every so often and just chilling with them, and their management knew me, and I got to know the whole team. And over time, they would say to me, "Have you ever thought of doing comedy?" Because obviously the interaction we would have, and that they'd notice the humour in me, and they'd say, "Haven't you ever thought of doing comedy?" Which I'd never had. As you know, making your friends laugh, or going on stage and making an audience that don't know you, they ain't got no reason to laugh at you.
Yeah,
they don't know you like that. That's a total different thing. So I thought, all right, I'm all right at making my friends laugh. I knew I could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd never thought about it. So when Curtis and Ishmael split up, there was a double act, and they split up, and Curtis went on to have a solo career. So that was his first one-man show as a solo artist, and it was at the Acme Empire. So at the break, he said to me, "I'm going to put you up for fun. Go up for 5 minutes and say something." And the only thing I could think about is like what I knew, which is I was a dad then. I was 21, but I was still a dad. I was a dad from 17, so I had kids, and I kind of knew about that, and I knew about, certain little things. So I thought, well, what do I talk about? Came the break. After the break, he says, "Right, I'm going to put you up before I go on. Go and do just a little something up there." So I won't lie, I had most probably two double brandies. I did, and
that's your drink, innit?
double brandies, man, and
Yeah.
a Bob Marley special filtered. I did. It's the truth.
I like how some people say, okay, all right.
Bob Marley special filtered, and I did. I went on stage. It was like Dutch courage for me. Went on stage, and I think it was talking about meeting your girlfriend's parents for the first time. And as I say, it's totally different now compared to back then. Because now kids can be in your house for 3 days and you don't know. Other kids that ain't your kids. They haven't come to say hello. They haven't said, do you know? So back then, you go in the house, you've got to find a parent, you're with your girlfriend, she introduced you to her mum, her dad, you're in the front room, you couldn't go up into the bedroom. And sooner or later, the mum and the girlfriend disappears into the kitchen, leaving you alone in the front room with the dad, which no young man wants. Yeah, and the joke premises was we end up saying shit we don't really mean, just to make ourselves look good. So you sit down with the dad, he'll start interrogating you. Well, what you want with my daughter? We'd say things like, she helps me with my studies, she's great, good influence and blah, blah. But what we really mean is, boy, she have one fit bottom, So basically it's a premise of what we say and what we really mean. Do you know what I'm saying? You smoke drugs? Oh, mean, never touch the stuff. What we really mean to say is, why, you have some Rizla? It's really stupid little things, but I was up there for about 3 or 4 minutes. About 3 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time when you're first starting out to actually speak to strangers and make them laugh. So it's about 3 minutes. I got a really big laugh at one of the things I said. And I got excited inside. You wouldn't see it, but inside it was like, let's see that, they're laughing. And the laughter died down. And my mind went blank. I say it went blank. So now I'm looking at them. They're looking at me. And in your head you're thinking, as a comedian, you're thinking, what do you say? And someone said, tell them the truth. So I said, look, I ain't going to lie. I've had a couple of brandies and a bit of a spliff. And I forgot what I was going to say next. And everybody laughed like that. And I said, my name's Slim, goodbye. And that's it. Yeah. And that was my first. That was the first one, bro.
So, like, when you done that show, is it true you didn't have a set, basically?
No.
Right? So, what was that first taste of like laughter like? Because I think for every comic, it's different. I think for me going on stage and getting that thing of like, oh, I wrote something, and then I told it, and people laughed, and it's like a weird like. I kind of like describe it as magic almost.
How did
like,
you feel though?
I think how I felt was almost like, oh, these are just words. Like I've not done any, because I got a lot of my comedy when I was young, especially as a kid, from like films I might like.
Yeah.
You know, Eddie Murphy, Jim Carrey, and it was always quite silly because I was always seeing that in film. But then going on stage and being like, oh, I've written this little line about this with a little accent. Let's see how it goes. And then getting that first laugh is like, it's almost like magic. It's almost like
It is, man.
someone has sprinkled like some kind of glitter over the audience.
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, Ross, shit, you lot find this funny.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you? How would you describe that moment?
They love me. Yeah, you do. It's that kind of feeling. If you go up and you can make a whole, group of strangers, it's not workmates, as I say, it's not people you're actually connected with day to day. These people don't know who you are, especially when you're new, and you're able to, get a reaction like that out of them. It's a good feeling. It's a great feeling, man.
You speak about the love, and then you had a job which was a bus driver early on.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of material about being a bus driver,
Yeah.
which is so funny. It's very hilarious. I feel like that's a job that, I don't know, for every, like, I don't necessarily say it's a job that you would hate, but the love that you have for it when you speak about it in comedy makes it seem like the funnest job ever. Do you know what I mean?
Think so?
Because the way that you have these
moan about it.
No, but you have these really fun stories that, like when a job is so hard, you're like, well, like, I have to love it because yes, it's hard and I might hate it, but I actually do love these small stories and things that happen. And the way that you was able to like transform that into comedy that people could relate to. I feel like seeing you as a comic and the way you used to have like your material that was so relatable but so personal to you made me sit and be like, how hard can it be being a bus driver? Because like Slim makes it sound quite fun. Do you know what I mean? And so you was a bus driver for 15 years.
Yeah.
So like when did the transition happen where like you said, I'm going to leave this behind? Because I know you had a job just before being a bus driver. Didn't you work as a mechanic for like BMW or something like that?
I was the delivery driver for BMW.
Wow.
I basically, like yourself, now, Mo, you get people delivered the cars to you. Mo gets his cars delivered to his fucking front door. So I was the guy that would drive. Come and collect your old car and drop you off your new car. It's a great job, man. It's a great job. You got to drive every BMW. Come on, a black man in BMWs. Yeah, it's wicked, man. I actually enjoyed the job, but it came to a point where I was earning more money on the comedy circuit than I was in my 9-to-5 job.
Oh, wow.
So, but you know what? We've been conditioned that even though I was making more money in comedy, in my mind, I'm like, you need a 9-to-5 job. Ain't that mad?
Yeah.
You're making more money, but we're so conditioned. You can't be self-employed. You need proper work, young man. And strange enough, it was an incident that happened at BMW that made me decide that it's time to leave. So I done from the beginning, for context. When I used to work 9-to-5s, I never actually told anybody in the 9-to-5s what I was doing. I didn't never say, oh, I'm a comic or I'm big comic. Or I didn't say, if you knew, you knew, but I wasn't one to go in there and advertise it.
How come?
I don't know. I just think it didn't really matter. Do you know what I mean? There's no use you boasting about. I remember I had some friends back in the day say they were princes and that from back home in Africa and this and that. And I'm thinking, but you live next door to me on a council estate. do you go? Me going into work and boasting to the fellow workers that I do this big job, it just didn't matter in the environment we were in at the time, because I'm doing the same job as you. So it wasn't something for me, I felt, to brag about. But anyway, I was in BMW for about a year and a half. But about 6 months into it, I'd done MTV, which was Kojo's Comedy Funhouse. I still working then. Do you know what I mean? And
You were still working at that time?
agency work. I was still working. But this is what I'm saying. In my mind, I'm thinking you can't let go of your 9 to 5. It'd be like you right now saying, I still need to go back.
I'm still a Levi's.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? I know it's crazy, but that's how I was just thinking.
Do you find that the reason why you didn't leave, because it's like a security? Do you find?
It's most probably security. It was security. No matter what, they will definitely pay you. Where being a self-employed comic, you've definitely got to look for your own money. So I done the MTV thing. I didn't tell anyone at BMW I was going to be on it, but there's a lot of young mechanics at BMW, so they're in their 20s, early 30s, who saw the actual show. So the next day I came in, they're like, yo, we see you on MTV, big man, you didn't say you're a comic, you didn't say this. So there was a lot of hype going on in the work environment. And then one of the directors, there's 3 directors at the one I was with in Battersea. 2 of them are all right. One always walked past me, never says nothing. You know, certain people like directors, no, they don't think they have to talk to you, you know? It's this guy. So he's seen all this people coming up to me. And, you know, office thing, it just goes around very quickly. So it's gone around to him. So he's approached me. I'm thinking he's coming up to say something nice. He come up and said, oh, I've heard we've got a bit of superstar in the office. So he says to me, he says, you don't have a tie on. And I thought, here we fucking go. Do you know what I mean? Here we go. So I said, well, I'm agency and they haven't given me a tie and blah, blah. He said, hey, follow me. And when he done that and turned around, I really felt to punch him in the back of his head. I know. But it's just that follow me. So I went with him and he gave me a tie. And I said, thank you. I didn't bother make no face. But I knew the moment he gave me the tie, I was leaving. And I left. By the end of the week, the Friday, I left. I just thought, yeah, this guy's going to start giving me hell to let me know
the balance
of power and where it is. Because he didn't like that. No one says hello to him. Those kind of people, you know, no one says hello to them. They're very... So for him to see all these people hyping over me and think, no, well, I'm not going to say hello to him. I'm going to let him know I'm in charge of you.
Yeah.
So really, I ain't gonna lie, I really do thank that guy because that gave me the push to actually just say, fuck it, I'll be self-employed. And I've been self-employed for about 15, 16 years.
Oh, wow, man. What did it feel like once you were finally self-employed, where you're like, you don't have the security of the 9 to 5?
You know what? I felt I'll do all right because the gigs were still coming in. I felt like I was slowly climbing the ladder rather than, going down it. But that makes you kind of dig deep and have faith in yourself properly, because now it's for you to actually make the name for yourself, make the money for yourself, rather than relying on, somebody else. You just turn up, do the hours, and they give you the money. So... I mean, being self-employed, it's the best thing that could ever happen, really.
It's like a different hustle, isn't it? When you got to do a job that is this is how I pay the bills. Yeah. As opposed to having that security. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I couldn't, being so I thought about it and I didn't make a mistake leaving BM, man.
You still in contact with that manager? Have you seen him since?
No, I haven't seen him at all. You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying. It's a weird world. If I had maybe reacted differently to him or whatever, but you just sometimes because and I knew that I had it in me to make the money on the comedy circuit. That's why I just thought, just leave. Ain't the first time I've walked out on a job. Sometimes you got to show them that. you know, it's not it. I walked off the tourist. We was talking about the tourist buses earlier, and similar thing. I walked off that. Man, kind of, you do what you're told. Do you shouting at me in front of everyone? Do you do what you're told? Do you understand me? Blah blah. And the end of that shift, I never returned. I didn't. I remember they phoned me the next day. This is the thing with them. They had the mouth. They phoned me the next day, and I said, "Yeah, I'm not coming back." Oh well, what's wrong? Come in. We'll talk about it. And you know, now they want to talk about it and this and no, man. I've took back my power from you. If that's how you're going to talk to me, if that's how you're going to deal with me. So yeah, I think I'm supposed to be self-employed.
You've had a lot of like people facing jobs. Like as a mechanic, you got to deal with people's. I say that like a mechanic or delivering cars. It's like very much people facing jobs. Bus driver. How much has that aided you in being a stand-up?
No, it's probably 100%. I was never cut out for the office. I knew it from like I was leaving school. I just thought in my head, I can't get an office job. No disrespect to anyone who works in an office. I was too fidgety as a child to work at. Fidgety people are not meant for offices. You know what I mean? So I needed to be out and about. That's why I'd done more driving jobs. I knew that would suit me, being out and about. And yeah, as you say, people facing. So going out, doing the different jobs, different people, different classes, you kind of, you become a kind of people person. Can understand, you know, the way how different people live, different cultures. So 100% doing the manual. It's proper manual work. It's given me a broader insight into different cultures, etc.
As a comic, what is your experience like? Because you've done comedy longer than probably half of my life, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because you're 20 years in now, innit?
I'm 32 years in.
You're 32?
I'm 32.
Fucking hell, bruv.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So you've done comedy for 32 years?
Yeah, I started at 21. I'm 53 now.
Right, look. I can listen. I love it, because I know how old you are, but I love it when people say,
I know the age thing is mad.
So you've done it for 32 years and you've predominantly been on like the black comedy circuit. But I know you've also played like things like the working men's clubs. You've played like, you know, some of those mainstream rooms. Especially I feel like when the mainstream rooms were at their height, like the Junglers where you could do a weekend and stuff.
Yeah.
What is it that you say is like being the secret to your success? Because the black comedy circuit, I feel like, is you have to bring your A game every time you do a show. And I feel like if you started off, you know, the first time you're on stage to 1,500 people, it's almost like you set your own benchmark that's so high that we don't, in the black comedy circuit, get the chance to be mediocre. Do you know what I mean? No. We don't get the chance to be like, hey man, my name's Josh. I've got this joke about my cat. Do you like cat jokes? We don't ever get that opportunity. So what's been like the secret to your success for 32 years?
I think writing material that, because when I became a comedian, I wanted to be able to entertain not just my own people, as in sense of black people. I wanted to entertain everybody. I wanted everybody to be able to laugh. You know, I wanted white people, you know, Asian people, whatever. You know, no matter where you come from, I just didn't want it to say I can make my own people laugh, and that's it. Because there is certain comics which, you know, we all know out there. Maybe they'll be good for a black comedy night, but you don't think they would be able. They most probably lose other cultures, maybe because everything they're saying is a bit really cultural. I don't want to say too black, because that's you know, I was trying to be diplomatic here. You see the diplomacy, I'm tapping my fingers and my bread is like, just say too black. So the way I wrote it was able to be received by everybody. So it doesn't matter what colour, culture you come from, everybody's ridden on a bus I'm giving my experience from
you
it.
always say this phrase, which I've always loved, which is like, funny is funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
Funny is funny, man. So, yeah, the way how I wrote and the way how I still write is to make sure that, will everyone get this? The way how I deliver it can be different in the sense of, okay, at Hackney Empire, the crowd is going to be majority black Caribbean, and black African, mainly. So I can be, I will say, a bit more black. Yeah, because I haven't found that next word yet, so I'm going to have to go with that. I suppose it's any culture. If Indian comics in front of a whole Indian audience, he can go right into it. Culturally, he can go deep because he's not going to lose anyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I try not to lose people by writing. In the sense, you like me saying not too black in it, I'm sure you know.
Let's go for it, bro. We all knew what you was trying to say, but we could see in your eyes you were fighting him.
I was fighting. You see it? I was fighting people.
We can see the fight. Just say black. Slim, you've been voted by a lot of comedians, especially your black peers, as their favorite comic, and a lot of people call you like the godfather of comedy. When you, I kind of look at you as almost like an uncle figure, because of when I first started, you was one of those comics that you wasn't trying to be preachy to me. That was, I'm only giving my encounter. You wasn't ever trying to be preachy. You just felt like one of the cool elders that was like, oh, like, this guy's cool, man. I can have a drink with him. Yeah. Like, and he's not trying to tell me like, young man, you shouldn't be drinking that rum, No, you're like, uncle, man. But you always felt like, so how does it feel that when like someone like myself or like your peers call you like the godfather of comedy? Because I always say that you're a comedian's comedian. Do you know what I mean? It's very rare in comedy that like a comedian's like, this is a comedian that I want to watch, not watch to study. I want to sit there and just watch and laugh. Do you know what I mean? How do you find it when you get like, those titles and stuff, man?
Well, do you know what? They're always given to me. Any title out there that people see, I've never said, make sure you put this on a flyer or I feel honoured and grateful, I suppose, given the title, because it shows respect, a form of respect for me in the industry, and you can't say you don't like that. Rather than a man calling you a dickhead or something like that. Do you know what I mean? So if you get like I'd rather the title than be called the dickhead. So yeah, I feel honoured.
So what was it like in 2005? Because you played at the Hollywood Comedy Store. You're one of the first black comics to perform at the Hollywood Comedy Store. And just a little backstory, if anyone's never been to the Hollywood Comedy Store, it's of course world famous. Do you know what I mean? People like the names they just even have on the wall that have performed there. It's the kind of place that like, Dave Chappelle would just pop in on like a Thursday night to try out some stuff. Kevin Hart would just come in on a random Saturday. But it's really like a proper mecca of comedy, where I think the first time I went there in 2019, comics hang out at the comedy club.
Yeah, they do.
That doesn't really happen much over here.
It's a proper hangout spot for comics. Yeah. And you'll see some famous comics just out there
just chilling. Out. Yeah. Do you know what I describe it as? You ever seen the film Men in Black?
Yeah.
They got that hub, right? When he goes into the place and you go down the lift, and you've got all the aliens from all parts of the universe, and they're all going somewhere. Like, it's like that. You've got every type of comic. You got the comic who wears the Hawaiian shirt, and he's trying to like be friends with like a big comic. You've got the podcast comic. You've got, and it's a proper home of comedy. And the first time I went there, I was very intimidated. I wasn't even performing. I just went to watch. But I was like, oh, this is real. This is like all the comics that I admire have probably started there or are here or just hanging out. Yeah. So what was that like for you in 2005 to like perform there?
It was nerve wracking because obviously you're abroad, you're in America, which obviously they've got some real top talent out there. So you saying, "Oh, I can join you guys." I started on, there's 3 floors in the Comedy Store. So you got the belly room, which is the smallest one right at the top.
Yeah.
The small room holds about 100, 150 people. Then you got the middle room, which is roughly about this size.
Yeah.
Middle room.
Yeah.
Then you got the ground floor is the large room. Now that's the main room where all the greats that you would know or see. So I started at the belly room. As you know, when there's a British dude in LA, it's like they know. It's like they've got some kind of alert signal to let them know. You must have got that when you was there. Everyone turns up. Who's the British dude?
Oh my God, yeah.
Right.
Was they nice to you?
They were.
The other comics?
They were really nice.
They were cunts to me, man.
Were they?
Oh, bro.
Maybe, because remember, you've gone over there, like, made it real big. I mean, I'm still in their eyes like a struggling comic. It don't matter how big you lot see me here, over there. But like you got Netflix, and you're just walking in on their territory. So they're like, fuck you, British guy. Say it. Fuck you, man. So maybe that's what it is. But they was quite welcoming to me. And you have to remember, this is 2005.
Yeah.
So you're talking, 20 odd years ago. And so I'd done the first show. The management for the middle room had come up to watch me. They asked me if I would do their floor the next night, which I did do. The manager, because each floor's got their own management, the manager for the main room saw me in the middle room and said, would I like to do the main room? And I said, of course I did. And they gave me 15 minutes and I absolutely loved it. And I want to say I tore it down because I think I had nerves, but I done well enough that I came off the stage and thought, I can come here and do my thing.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to be there and adjust over time, but for them getting the jokes, understanding everything, my punchlines, and I was good with that.
I think it's definitely it's so different to like the East Coast to the West Coast, because when you're in the East Coast, they have, I think, more of a closer connection of like some of the London references.
Yes.
And, you know, especially if you're Jamaican, because there's loads of Jamaicans in New York as well on the West Coast. I mean, sorry, in the East Coast. But in the West Coast, I feel like they don't care from London, Jamaica.
They don't.
They're like, man, do the fucking jokes, man. I don't know who the fuck you is, man. That's what it was like to me. But I feel like I know I had a horrible time. Don't get me wrong. The set the set went well.
Yeah.
But I remember I think what I've always learned here as comics, when you're in a green room, our green rooms are smaller. There's normally about 4, maybe 5 on the lineup. If there is 5, it might be 2 or 3 people in the middle. So you might have someone open 20. Yeah. You might have 3 people in the middle that might be new. And then you might have like a headliner, someone like yourself at the end to close. But I remember there was like 10 comics on.
That's crazy.
They had 10 comics. And I think it was... they have a night. It was on like a Monday, but all their nights, it's not just a Monday night comedy club. It's called like Chocolate Mondays or something like this.
Chocolate Sundays.
No, not Sundays, because that's at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
This one was at the store, but it had something to do with chocolate and black. I don't know what it was. But I went into the green room and I done everyone's waiting there, and I was like, "Oh, what's going on, man? How's it going? You're right. Nice to meet you, man. I'm Mo." One guy looked at me and he was like, "You got an accent, huh?" I was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean, bro? But then first 2 minutes was shaky. I don't think, whenever I'm over there, I don't know now, because of things like, I don't know, whether it's Top Boy or whatever, they didn't believe I was British. So the first 60 seconds, you just got a crowd who are like, man, why this dude change the accent? I'm like, no, this is how I speak.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, and then what I'd done, I started having some references about some Jamaican takeaways, like in LA. And then it was like, okay, he's from here. Yeah. And I think once I said the Jamaican thing, I was like, I like Jamaican food. I was one guy in the front. He go, yo, man, Kingston. And then after that, the crowd, man. Yeah, but it's one of those places. The reason why I bring it up, because I feel like it's a natural home of comedy. Because I feel like here, this is your home, but then whenever you take comedy outside of your home, it's very difficult in a sense of like, are they going to get me? And I feel like that, especially for myself as a black comic, where I'm like, oh, are they even going to get me? Do you know what I mean? I know they might not get the UK stuff, but are they going to get black UK comedy?
Yeah.
And you've done shows all around the world. You've done shows at like Army Barracks and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And you've supported a lot of high profile comics. Some of the names like Bill Bellamy, Eddie Griffin, Kevin Hart. You've toured at places where there's army barracks, like I was saying, like the Falklands, the Middle East. What is your drive when it comes to comedy? Because like to perform in some of those places or support some of those people and take it across the pond, there's something I think in every comic where it's like you're saying, funny is funny. You want to see how far it can go, but how does that kind of, what's that thing that kind of makes you wake up in the morning and says, I'm going to the Falklands to do comedy? Do you know what I mean?
I like to make people laugh. That's number one. And I like to challenge myself where comedy is concerned. So I like to do shows that, are challenging in the sense of, as you say, going to a war zone or going to entertain troops that are literally out there just bored as hell sometimes.
Yeah.
That
What's
need
it
a bit of
like?
entertainment. It's really good. Falklands were really, really good. I enjoyed that. I don't know why we went to war over the Falklands. If you see the Falklands, it's just like one big rock. No, seriously, when you go home, Google the Falklands and you would be surprised why they went to war. But from what I hear, is something over fishing rights and some kind of money thing. But yeah, the guys there though, they're brilliant with us, man. They was actually glad for, when you're bored and your cousins come over or somebody else, rather than what's in your house. So they took us out, showed us around for what stuff we could see. The orcas were good. They took us to see some whales and all them kind. They took us shooting, firing range. So I had a whale of a time. Took us to go and see the fighter jets sitting them in the hangars and all that. So that was great. I mean, there's not a lot of people can say they sit down in an F-16 fighter jet. You know what I mean? So for me, it's excitement, man. Challenges, excitement, and just making people laugh. I'll get up and go anywhere in the world.
You supported a lot of high profile US acts on tour. Like I mentioned before, Bill Bellamy, Eddie Griffin, Kevin Hart. How did that come about?
That came about from my first real superstar or American comic that I actually supported was John Witherspoon. God rest his soul. So those that might not know who John Witherspoon is, John Witherspoon plays Ice Cube's dad in all the Friday films. I don't know if you watch the Friday film, the old dog catcher guy.
Every time I'm in the kitchen, you in the kitchen.
So he came over in 2004, I think it was. Hang on, I'll tell you exactly when it was. 2000. It was 2000. I'll tell you why. We both have children born in the same year. That's what I discovered. So basically, he had a 10-year-old, I had a 10-year-old. But I remember I was driving the buses. I was driving 295 buses. I remember what number it was. From Clapham to Shepherd's Bush, Ladbroke Grove, sorry. And my manager at the time phoned me and he said, do you want to support John Witherspoon? And I said, well, when? He said, tonight. Now I'm on the bus and my shift don't finish till maybe 9 o'clock, They need me by about 6. So I just said to them, book me into that, man. And I can't remember what I told him. I must have told him I'm sick or something, man. I brought the bus back, went home and changed. I mean it. Made my excuses. It was at the Clapham Grand. That's where it was, at the Clapham Grand it was. And I done really, really well. And John was really impressed by it. You know, he pulled me to the side and he says to me, you know, have I ever thought about going to America before to do comedy? I said, no. He said, you should, man. He said, you got some original material there, man. And that's when I really decided maybe I might have something. And then obviously Bill Bellamy came after 2005. And that's where I went back to. I toured with him in England and he invited me back to LA. So I went to LA off the back of that. And then 2006, I toured for Kevin when he came over here on his little London, well, not London tour, UK tour. So we done Manchester, Birmingham and London, I think. So I got to know him then. But at that time, he wasn't a major movie star. So he didn't have security, he didn't have... So the manager just said to us, look, we'll give you that Mercedes van thing and you lot cruiser and you lot just go around London, yeah? Look after Kevin, he says.
I swear.
You know what I mean? I took him to Tinseltown.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know he's American, innit? And back then, that's the only real thing that I thought. And, you know, not looking on it now, I should have been embarrassed to have brought him there because... But off the back of that, and just, I suppose it's just word of mouth. That slowly people was just saying, right, if we've got this big comic, we'll get Slim to support him. And that's how that went. So, yeah, over time, Eddie Griffin came over, supported him, came over again, supported him again. John Witherspoon came over about 6 years before he died as well, for the rest of his soul. So I supported him on that one as well, which was great to see him again, yeah.
When you support those big comics, especially like in your hometown, like I say hometown, but in the UK, is there like a sense of, as a comic, where you're like, where you're kind of supporting them, but you're like, all right, I'm going to absolutely murk this 10, 15 minutes to show you what I'm about and what I can do here. Does that make sense?
Yeah, not so much for the artists I'm supporting, more for... Because your audience turns up and, you know, people that know you, but then you're supporting this guy. So it's, can you keep to a good level where you make a good showing for yourself? Does that make sense? Because, you know, you don't want to go out to see a British artist supporting maybe a really big American artist and he flops. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it was more the people turning up, the people that know who I am. I'm going to show you that I can hold it up amongst even the Hollywood elites. And that's why I made sure any set that I always do anyway, whether it's I'm supporting someone or not, any comedy show, I give my best. And yeah, so that's what I'd done with them. So the audience was impressed. And also the artists were impressed. So yeah, it was good for me anyway. Yeah, money wise, yeah.
Amongst a lot of us comics, especially on the black circuit, you lot won't know this, but whenever you're on a lineup with Slim, you never want to be after Slim because, like, you're very effortless on stage where you can just have a conversation with someone. And it could be a joke about children or whatever. And as comics, we're like, oh, I know like where you're going with this. Like, you know, you it's your point of reference of, hey, like, you know, you got kids. Your kids do that. And then you go into your material. But then like you really don't leave any crumbs on stage. So going after you is like, oh shit, I gotta clean up these crumbs, boy. I think like in terms of you as a comic, you've been able to make like material that's super relatable to comics. You're very, very likable. When you appeared on my documentary, we went to your house and I remember you saying, you know, when you do stand up at night, it's almost like a kind of Clark Kent feeling. I don't know if you remember this, where you said, you know, in the night, you feel like, you know, I'm doing this thing and I'm Superman. Yeah. And in the daytime, I go back to feeling like Clark Kent. What is that Clark Kent for you? Because I think every comic has that day to night feeling where it's like nighttime, I do this thing, and again, we work at nighttime. That's normally the time where we're just used to being up at night, whereas daytime we're like, all right, I need to do something, because you know, sometimes I was waiting for the time to go so you can go and gig and do your stuff. What's that Clark Kent feeling like for you?
I mean, at the end of the day, it was where I had to be at the time. So as I said, I was working. I wouldn't give up the work. You know, I had my comedy career that was going good. So yeah, me, as I said, disappearing off my bus duty to go is like, you know, Clark Kent disappears off his work to go and save the world. You know, I just thought that's how I felt. So that's what it is. But did I feel? I don't know. You asked some really good fucking questions, man. Kudos to you, sir. Kudos. Yeah, well, it's just that, you know, no matter how big people cheered you, you know, 1,200 people cheered you and blah, blah, blah. But in the day now, I'm gone back to picking up passengers that might abuse me. Do you understand? Yeah, so it's total two separate kind of lifestyles I was living. As I said, I'd done it until I didn't have to do it anymore. So, yeah.
Do you ever feel like, you know, we spoke about this as well, about in terms of we spoke a little bit about the black comedy circuit, and you know, you've appeared on shows like Live at the Apollo, Sorry I Didn't Know, the Russell Howard Hour, and like you appeared on like my documentary Black British and Funny on Channel 4. But then I also feel like, you know, that someone like yourself should have been on TV way sooner than you did. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you're extremely funny. Like, I've seen you in a ton of different comedy clubs. I've seen you, the O2 arenas, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Shut it down. How does it feel that you, like, I don't know, because I've heard you say it from how you've expressed it. Yeah. But then is there like a sense of like, like outcomes, because I've had it definitely in my career where you're like, oh, right, like, maybe I should be on that lineup, you know? Like, I feel like I'm good enough. Do you know what I mean? I can hold my own. Especially when you know you can hold your own. Especially when you might be on a lineup with comics you're on a level with at a comedy club. And like, hey, man, Slim, you're fucking amazing, bro. Yeah. And you're like, I know this, my guy. Like, I know. Yeah. But how does that make you feel when you go back home and you do feel like the Clark Kent and you see someone on TV and they're like, so, my name's Josh. Got this joke about my cats. You're like, are you fucking serious, bro? Like...
I don't know. I think
nothing against anyone called time. Josh as a comic, though. Let me just put that out there. Do you know what I mean? But no, how
I don't know. I'm just in my own lane. You know, I think as well, we've got less vehicles for actual comedians to actually appear on. You had proper comedy shows or stand-up comedy programs on TV. I think they're dying down because we get more reality shows now. So that's why there's a shift more what the comics doing online stuff. Yeah. But for me, I mean, it would be nice to get TV work. TV work, as you know, pays out. But so does touring, so does gigging. I work every week, without week in, week out, weekend. I'm booked up for most of the year at a time. So the work's still coming in. I'm still staying relevant. I still have an audience. So, sometimes you think, well, it'd be nice if I got that next stage. But until then, where I am, do I want more? Yes. But am I bitter at where I am? No. Because I enjoy what I'm doing. As I say, if I need that change, I do, as you say, something else. Like, you know, I've got this BBC thing coming up soon and going abroad. And so it's never Groundhog Day for me. Never the same thing and I'm just doing the same thing. But would I want more? Absolutely. Absolutely.
How was it doing Live at the Apollo for you? Because I felt like you went on there at a stage where it was like you were due to be on Live at the Apollo. Do you know what I mean? So did it feel like this? Because I think the reason why I ask as well, because you started off at Hackney Empire in 1993 playing to 1,500 people.
Yeah.
In the black comedy circuit, we play big rooms,
Yeah.
which is very normal for us.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just like, oh, how many? 3,000. All right, cool. And it's very normal. So we don't get intimidated by the amount of people.
That's
I think
right.
sometimes it can be the occasion though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How was it for you?
Live at the Apollo was wicked. I will admit. Is it 5,000 people there? 4,500,
yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. The size of the audience, no, it never bothered me. I just needed to make sure I come out and shone on stage to say, you know what? Yeah, he was given a chance and he smashed it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So, yeah, my material had to be sound, on point. And for me as a black artist, as you know, the audience is majority white British people. Me doing it and their response to it it's almost like it signified to myself and to the people out there that I am able to entertain a wider audience, because that is the main thing with foreign and black entertainers in England. Is like, will the Middle England understand them? Will the more? And I needed to go up there and prove, you know what, they'll all understand me, and I done that. So yeah, for me it was it was a triumph for me, man.
That's why I say sometimes it's the occasion, because you've performed in front of masses and amounts of people before. But sometimes it's the occasion of a thing where you're like, I can do this. I know I can do this, but can I do this to this audience? Are they going to get me? And I think that's always the little, sometimes a shadow that can hang, like above us, in a sense of like, you got to kind of, as they say, sometimes get the monkey off your back. Do you know what I mean? Because I've felt the similar thing where you're like, oh, I'm doing this thing. Like, I've performed in this room before, but are these lot gonna get me if I say this joke?
Right.
And there's that moment. It's, again, I don't know if you've had this. It's a bit like that magic kind of glitter where you say something and you're like, oh, right. Well, I didn't know black people knew this Rastafarian joke I was gonna do, but they really get this stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you performed and you done your biggest show at the London Palladium.
Yeah.
You're the first black British comic to sell out the London Palladium, which is an iconic venue. It's in Oxford Street, right on the front line in Oxford Street.
Yeah, it is. Right next to the station.
What was that like? Because I think it's also one of those venues that, because it's like, I don't know, like where like the occasion can get ahead of you, in a sense of, sometimes I see it when if I see a comic at the Royal Albert Hall, it's like the name and everything can get ahead of the comic, if you know what I mean. How was it for you when you played there? Because it was for your own show as well, your own tour show, you know what I mean?
It was my one-man show. It's the end of my little tour, and that was the last main big gig, was at the Palladium. And yeah, it's monumental, man. I try not to make the occasions become too much for me. Do you know what I mean? Because some people, I'll tell you what happens if you overthink. I remember doing a show years ago in Battersea Jongleurs, not maybe 20 years ago, and it was one of my first shows where it would be an all-white audience, and I spent the day worrying about it. I did. I think, will they understand me? Will they get this joke? Will I be a bit too black? Will I? And I spent so much time worrying about it. By the time I actually got to the gig, I was kind of a nervous wreck. And you know what? It showed on stage. I had all right. They were laughing, but I was like fearful. I was missing shit. And it showed. And even though they gave us a round of applause and I'd done well, done all right. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't no state, but it was acceptable. But for me, I was like, no, I could have done much better than that, And I thought, well, fuck it. I'll never wake up ever again and got a show and spend all day worrying about the little minor details, and I never have. And since then, I've never really gone wrong at shows.
No, you haven't. No. I've seen you at like big shows, small shows, your own shows. What's your writing process like? Because your material just seems like it's like you're like, let's talk about that. Bow. Like, how do you? Because your stuff is so personal sometimes. Like sometimes you will talk about your children and stuff like that as well. How do you write when you're such a personal comic? Do you know what I mean? Is it a sense of like, oh, let's see what the audience is like tonight? A lot of couples in. Let's do some couple material. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
That's exactly that. Writing, I just write what I see, what comes into my head. The environment you're around, whatever situations. I've got. Look, I've been in comedy 32 years, so I was explaining to you earlier. You know, you take a big singer that you lot know. Let's say Madonna. Everyone knows Madonna. She has X amount of albums because over years she's been there working. So say she's got 9 albums. She can say, right, I'll take a song off that album and sing tonight. I'll take 2 off this album, 1 off that album. And the way I do that is, as you say, we watch the crowd, what they're laughing at, what they seem to be into. And then I can say, right, I'll pick that song, but jokes instead. I'll pick that one, and I'll go out and do that. And yeah, it works for me, man.
Yeah. Let's go into the archive.
Yeah, I'll go into the archives, man, and dig up. You know, you always got the new hits you put out there. But yeah, you dig up the best archives for them.
Yeah, man. So you've got something with Radio 4 as well, right?
Yes.
Are you allowed to tell us what that is?
I'm not sure. I've got to ask. Gilly, am I allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, go on.
There you go. I've got arts management, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a Radio 4 series, it's a little mini series. Basically, it'll be on my life, my actual life. So we'll start with different segments. So I'm doing I was born to 10 years old, then 10 to 20, 20 to 30, 30 to 40, 40 to 50. And my life in between all those time frames. So shit in my life from 0 to 10. Like a lot of people don't know that when I was 3, I left the house to say I was following my dad to work. And I went on like a baby's day out.
3 years old?
3 years old. I went on a baby's day out. If anyone knows the area, I went from Broccoli to Elephant and Castle.
Oh shit! At 3 years old.
3 years old, bro.
That's far, you know.
It's far. It's about 5-6 miles. It's about 6 miles. Yeah. So yeah, and like obviously the lady saw me on there, took me off, phoned the police. Yeah, it was great. So there's a lot of little stuff that you don't know about me that I will be explaining during this little series.
Yeah. How is this in terms of your career now? Because like BBC Radio 4 is like a different kind of medium to connect to people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's different from like some of the television stuff or stage. It's Radio 4. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's any music on Radio 4. You know?
No, I don't think there is. It's just programming, man.
Yeah, but it's like I've been in a building. I think I've done Radio 5 Live, and it's very, you know, they'll have news about like the sea weather and stuff like this. Do you know what I mean? For like people that are on boats and stuff like this.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like a different level of medium. But like the people that listen to Radio 4, that's like a very diehard, I feel like, audience almost. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know it until I went to BBC Radio 2. And
you realised.
Someone was like, oh yeah, like my auntie and my nan was listening to you on Radio 2. I was like, bro, I've been on One Extra like 9 times, bro. No one ever.
On Radio 2, man.
Yeah.
Informative. That's what it is. I like, you know what? The industry evolves, isn't it? I mean, I've been in it 30 years, so it's not going to stay the same over 30 years. So it's like anything else. You've got to learn to evolve with the times and what's happening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so for me, it's again a new experience doing this. But it will be taped live, a bit like what you're seeing now. So the radio show won't just be me hidden away. We'll have an audience, etc. There'll be jokes, fun, blah, blah, blah. So it's a new experience for me, part of the evolving. And yeah, it's a challenge I'm looking forward to, man. Definitely, yeah.
When it comes to evolving in comedy, do you feel like, because you've done it for 32 years, you've seen a lot come, you've seen a lot go. Like, what's been like sometimes the key to like evolving? Is it because it's like, I feel like as a comic, like we go back to comedy, you're like quite an old school comic. Do you know what I mean? Like you like your brandy before your show and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Even in terms of like with a black comedy circuit, the way we get paid is cash in hand. Do you know what I mean? So the minute you start doing mainstream stuff, and you're like, what? A 60-day invoice?
Yeah. So, bro, give me my money, man. Don't let me get wild out here. What are you talking about? Call the manager.
How do you evolve to those situations though? Because it's like, you know, once you start doing, let's say, like TV stuff, and again, they might pay you in 2 months for a thing where you're like, I hear that, but I'm used to being on a circuit where I do the thing and I get paid. It's I guess it's like the hard graft of doing a job that's like people facing. You know, you're a bus driver, you've worked all those long hours, then you know at the end of the month you're getting paid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But we're on the black circuit, they usually pay you there and then. Because I do both circuits, I can balance it out. So I do the mainstream circuit and I do the black circuit. So there's always some kind of cash flow coming in. You know what I mean? So I don't worry about it that much. Yeah.
You speak about your kids sometimes in your comedy and just in life general and stuff. What's the balancing act like being in a job that makes you work nights, late nights around the world, you know, in different places and stuff, and supporting your likes of, you know, your Eddie Griffins and Kevin Hart's, where you have to drop something at the drop of a hat to go and support someone, but also balancing, you know, being a father as well, grandfather as well. Your grandfather, right?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. I met your son.
Yeah, man. I've got 3 grandkids:
Big
13-year-old, 3-year-old, 1-year-old.
Yeah.
So
how hard is it balancing that part of life and work?
Right. You're going to have to excuse me. I've got to run out of here for 1 second and come back, yeah? Stay there. I've got something. That's why. Sorry, folks. Sorted.
What did you want, a water?
No, I don't want to water. I would have asked you for water, man.
Oh, okay. So, because someone said it. Someone said, I think you want it. You said that, didn't you?
Is that what you said? Have you got water here?
Yeah, we got some water down here. We got some water down there.
Where?
Down there.
Boy, you look high now. If I didn't look, you put this so I can't lean forward.
What did you?
Brother, I thought you left me out here for my lips to start turning white on me, brother. Oh, thank you.
Fair enough. You was right. You was protesting your innocence then just a minute ago. No, wait, I didn't say it like that. I was. Yes. Where was we? That's where we was. How do you balance being a father that works, you know, at night? How do they react to like what your job is? Because, you know, it's like we were saying, like, you know, it's a job that is late at night and stuff, and it's a little bit, I guess, it's different than what it's probably like for the grandkids in some ways. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Where like your immediate kids, when I've seen shows that you've gone to them, like shows and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. How do they find it in terms of having a dad who, you know, like when you walk down Brixton, people want to stop you and stuff. How did they have to adjust to life in some ways? Did you have to adjust them to the life? Did you have to take them to stuff and kind of give them a snapshot of what your life is like?
Yes. Yeah, because obviously at some point they get to an age you think, yeah, they're 13, 14, they can, you know, come and see what I do. How they react to, right, so it's out of the 6 kids, the first 2, I wasn't a comedian, so they literally, you know, I didn't start comedy till I was like 3 and 4 and all that. So yeah, I suppose they've grown with it, but I wasn't a comedian when I first had my first 2. The other kids, they've all grown up with me being a comedian, and at different stages of my career, whatever child was at that stage that was born, they've grown up knowing me Basically, like when you're walking on the road and people saying, "You're right, Slim. You're right, Slim. You're right," and I'm like, "You're right." And like the first thing they'll say is, "Do you know them, Dad?"
Yeah.
And then I'll say no. And they'll ask you, "Well, how come you're talking to them?" And then I'll explain what I do for a living. And as they get older, they see like maybe posters that have been put up around the neighborhood or whatever, with my face on it, with other comics. But no, they're proud of what I do. Yeah, they're definitely proud of what I do. You know, they say, my dad, my friend's mum knows you, my friends, blah, blah. So it's always from an angle of them being proud rather than maybe embarrassed or ashamed. You know, they seem to be proud of my career, yeah.
And you've done comedy for 32 years. You say you're 53?
53.
You're 53. So I feel like, for me, I always feel like when it comes to comedians, you need a life experience that is like and your life experience is like what you go back to of saying when you jump on stage, it is like your Madonna's greatest hits of like, I've got this one, I've got that one, I've got this one.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really happens at the stage you're at in your life now, where you're at a place where you're like, I can go to a working men's club, I can go to the Falklands, I can do a show here at the Creek, I could do live at the Apollo, and I can pick from what albums I'm gonna perform in some ways.
100%.
You know, at this stage in your life, when you start looking towards, you know, like the part of your career that I wouldn't say is the end, but is the part of your career where you're like, I don't know if I still have the same hunger of waking up in the morning or wanting to cancel, you know, like my shift short, essentially, where there's a different hunger when you're younger. Yeah. But I guess when life comes into play, when you've got, you know, your grandkids and they just say, I just want to spend time with your own children. Yeah. How do you look at that kind of side of your career where, you know, you're selling out the Palladium, you're on BBC Radio 4 and, you know, you're on television, BBC, ITV, Sky, and you're in that peak stage. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like Gareth Bale, Real Madrid running down the line and Busquets is chasing him. I feel like you're at that real prime in where you can pick what you want to do, but also you're like, I have this experience, but also have an experience of being a granddad, being a dad. Yeah. How do you start to look at that part of your career?
Do you know what? I've not even considered like, I'll retire at this age. And the beautiful thing about comedy or entertainment, there's not really a retirement age. It's more staying relevant. It makes sense. It's more for you to stay relevant than your actual age. If you're funny I think Whoopi Goldberg came here last year in her 70s. She sold out Brixton Academy, just like that, in her 70s. So it's just staying relevant, I think. And as long as I'm relevant, I'm not looking to retire. Do you know what I mean? Not now anyway. I think I've still got at least another 10. 65, I look on it again. At 65, man pushing retirement on me so soon. I understand. No, I'm not looking to retire for now, though, no.
So like you're 53 and you don't look 53. Okay. Like I remember when we was at your house and you was doing pull-ups, and I was on TV struggling to do one. I was so fucking embarrassed, you know, that they put that on the TV. I can do 12 now.
See?
Yeah.
It's consistent, man.
Yeah, I can do 12, and I can like hold it for a little bit, bring it down, go back up.
You're showing off on the bar now.
Yeah, I'm on there still. Listen, don't get it twisted. I see Slim at the premium gyms, you know. What do you do when you're not doing comedy? Like, because I'm always so intrigued to like what comics do, because that's what I mean. Like when I seen you at the gym, because I know you work out and stuff, but I was like, right, and you're properly into your gym stuff. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What do you do away from stand up when you're not on stage and, you know?
If it ain't family, a lot of the times now, at the age I am, I'm kind of catching up on stuff that I should have caught up on, especially with, you know, like, we earn good money. So it's like, what to do? You usually just take the money and spend it or put up some and this and that. Now it's like investing and other things that I should have learned that school should have taught us. Yeah, instead of teaching about algebra. Do you know what I mean? So basically, I do that. I read a lot, and mostly read and family. Really, I'm more homebody now. You know.
Yeah.
You know, back in the days, I used to live on the. Well, I don't like to say live on the street. It never sound nice, but I was always out the house. Do you know what I mean? Always. If I lived in West London, I had to come down south, see family, bring them kids. I was always up and down, bringing the kids to see. But now, because remember, I got my time back. All my kids are grown. No one's 18 or under.
Yeah. So what's that like?
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
No more parents' evening. Do you know what I mean? And stuff like that. No more school uniform to buy. Yeah, man. They have to feed themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of pluses to there's a lot of pluses. They come back like boomerangs every so often and beg you a little something, but they're gone again after a while. But yeah, the thing of the responsibility where you feel every aspect of their life you're responsible for, you're not normal. And yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah.
So, how do you look at like the legacy that you want to create, or whether you want to create it, whether you care about it? I feel like this is such an open-ended question because whenever I ask this to people on the podcast, some people really care about it, some people don't care about it at all. I feel like you've kind of built your legacy around who you are just as a person. I would say more off stage than probably on stage, because of I think I've known you more like off stage in a sense of I'd see you at the gym, or I'd watch backstage. I don't watch as an audience member. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I see it from, I guess, the side of the stage in a way. Meeting your son at a show, and you're a comic. You're not, what I mean? You're a comedian's comedian. There's a reason why Bill Bellamy will have you support him and say, hey, like, come and do that in LA. And we know comedy, not a lot of comics are like that.
No, I know. It's strange. The very first comic that I actually asked was before John Witherspoon. Her name was Mugger. I'll say her name. Okay. And I came off stage. I remember asking her. I said, "Look, I'd really like to go to America. What do you think?" And listen, and she just so dismissive. She said, no, y'all won't make it. Y'all talk too fast, and y'all this and y'all that. And I was like, when someone's telling you something, your heart's just dropping at everything you're hearing. So I just like, maybe I ain't good enough to go to America. And that's what I'm saying. You can't always listen to people, because the next person I did actually support was John Witherspoon, who was a major star at the time over in America. He used to write for Richard Pryor, part of the Richard Pryor gang. So this is a big guy, and for him to say, you should try to get yourself over there, and then gave me the reason why, was totally different from what she said. Yeah.
So how do you start to like look at like what you want to leave behind for the story to be told by, the comics who call you the comedian's comedian? Do you know what I mean? Like, because I always say it's more important of how people talk about you when you're not in the room as opposed to when you're in the room.
That's right.
And I've been around a ton of comics and everyone's like, oh, Slim? Yeah, man, Slim fucking shut it down. Do you know what I mean? Like, never heard a negative thing. So, like, how do you kind of envision that kind of legacy to kind of be held together in some ways?
You know what? Another good question. The audience, the people, they will decide how I'll be remembered, not me. Because really, I can remember. I'm going to try and remember myself as top shit. The audience down the line might not think that. So I think legacy, for me, as a man, I can leave a legacy for myself and my kids, etc. But where the comedy's concerned, it's for me, it's for the public. They're always the ones that decide. That's why I've never named myself anything. I've been given titles. People say you're this or you're that, but it's the people that actually decide at the end of the day. So I think my legacy, for me, to you guys, is that I hope that I would have served you the whole of my career, and you lot have been proud of my career and, you know, what I've done for the sake of laughter, community, comedy. But what the people think of me, yeah, that's down to them, man. I don't know. I'm just out here just trying to make people happy. Whatever little titles they decide to give me along the way, I'm just grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one last question. I think it might have been maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I don't know if you remember this. And we was talking. Yeah, it was on the podcast, actually. And no, not on the podcast, so on the documentary. And you said about going over to America.
Yeah.
And you said, yeah, I feel like the plan is really to go over to America. A lot of us in this country, a lot of black British acts, we see that as a place of like, if I'm going to be accepted anywhere, it's probably there.
Yeah.
Myself included as well. There's times where I feel like, maybe I should go over there and do my thing there. But there's always something here that feels like unfinished business.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter where you are in your career, beginning, middle and end, pardon the pun. But no, I always feel like there's things here that I just feel like you feel like I need to conquer that thing here. But there's also a genuine love you get here.
Yeah.
I just don't believe you'll get anywhere else, which is, you know, they say home is where the heart is. Do you know what I mean?
It is.
And you probably come into contact with people that really do pour out their heart when they meet and they say, yo, Slim, bro, I was in a bad place. I seen you at this show.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, man. You really like made my day.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not to say that won't ever happen across the pond, but I always feel like they're the things that can tug on your heartstrings to make you be like, do you know what? Let me just stay here, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is that still a dream to go over there? Is that still?
Yeah, definitely. Look, the Hollywood is, where entertainment's concerned, is like the mecca for entertainment. If you're accepted in Hollywood, you're universally accepted around the world, really. I mean, if you just look at people like Idris Elba, England had him before, you know. It wasn't until he went to America, made his name on the Wire?
The Wire, yeah.
And he came back as a big star that the people in Britain started to pay attention to him. But you had him here already.
Yeah.
You see the craziness of it. So they do say, another saying that I heard is, a prophet is never accepted in his homeland. Does that make sense? You have to go out for you to be special. You're not special where you are. When you go somewhere else and become special, when you come back, everybody's on you as well. So for me to say, I don't want to go to America again, and that would be crazy. Yeah, and I wouldn't go if I didn't think. I'm that kind of real person. If I deep down had gone there a couple of times, performed, I'd have quietly said to myself, I think this is a bit too much for you. But because I've been, I know I'd be up against what I'm around. Yeah, I'm just ready for that experience, man. Trust me. Yeah, man. It can't put me off.
Slim, this has been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure for me because I love just being able to just chat to you like on this level, because I feel like a lot of times in the work we're in, we see each other passing.
Very
do you know
quickly.
What I mean? Hey, what's up? How you been? You're right. Or in, like I always see you in environments that we can't talk. I think the last time I seen you was in December at the park. There was like a party, Christmas party.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, what's up? You all right? Yeah. But I was trying to eat and I was like, I hear that, bro. Yeah. But no, man, it's been a pleasure, one, having you on the podcast. I always love having these conversations in front of an audience because, especially with someone like yourself, do you know what I mean? Where you're very entertaining, you're very funny, but you're also very thoughtful and like you give a lot to the community, but you also give a lot to comedy. Do you know what I mean? And it's a testament to, you know, yourself that we say like you're the comedian's comedian. Do you know what I mean? You're the first comic that will put, you know, your arm around someone and be like, yeah, man, you fucking smashed it, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Without going into in-depth detail, yeah, I like the callback with that bit. And when you had the crowd, and sometimes you're like, bro, I don't need this, you know?
That's too much, too much information.
But I don't know how vital you know that is to a lot of us comics. And there'll be a lot of comics watching this that haven't had that arm around them. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's passing it down to another generation of, if I was, you know, at a show and I met another young comic, I have to make sure I go back to that time when I first met you and I do the same thing to that comic. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I say, yeah, man.
Done that.
Do you know what I mean?
Done that yourself. You've been on some massive tours. You get your support acts. That means the world to them. Do you understand? For some reason, no one mainstream comic wanted to bring me on tour with them. It's just that thing.
No, you'll shut it down though, bruv. You would shut it down.
Do you know what? Strange enough, I think I understand.
A man talking about cats, you would shut it down, Slim. And you know, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck this up, boy.
And I think because of that, a lot of people are frightened to bring me on tour with them, because what usually happens, the headline act obviously wants to be seen as the best on the night. So usually they'll get an act that's not as good or just starting out. So obviously there's a difference in level in the comedy. But like yourself, Kevin, you are actually the only British big time comic that sprang me on tour with them. You're doing the whole too.
Good ups, man. That's normal though, man. Come on, man. Listen, when we had that show at the O2, I was like, there's no way we can't have Slim at the O2, man.
No, man.
You know what I mean? Even though like I was headlining, I was like, nah, like this isn't, it was never about me, but it was almost like, you was one of the comics that I seen at the Albany Theatre when I was like 17, with a friend of mine called Conrad. And I didn't do comedy at that stage. Yeah. And I remember watching you and we was in hysterics. And I was like, right, this guy is just funny. I didn't hear you. I remember that at the time you done the Lilt commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, I think it would come on the afternoons on ITV2.
ITV2, yeah.
Like, I think maybe like Ricky Lake or something like that was on. I'm not sure.
They used to show it between the drama shows, yeah.
And I think it was like, you was doing like the voiceover of like a bird or something.
Parrot.
I'm not too sure.
I was the little parrot.
Yes, yeah.
Respect to the goldfish.
Yeah. But I think that was also for me. I was like, that was my point back of like, oh, Ross, I seen you at the, because it wasn't social media what it was like now.
No.
You know, some people now could go and be like, oh, I don't know who Mo is, I don't know who Slim is. No. I can go on Instagram, that's who that person is. I'll follow them and I'll check out who they are. Yeah. But I think this was at a time on Facebook and I followed you. And it was also, you got to remember, Facebook, you was adding someone as a friend. Yeah. It wasn't this whole like, I'm a comic, follow, you can see more gigs.
Friending, yeah.
And that's where I seen pictures of yourself of BMW and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, but this guy added me as one of his friends, boy. And then I seen the commercial. Yeah. But it was my link of like, oh, I've just seen you and I've just heard you on a commercial. Like, oh, right, like, I want to know more of who this person is.
Right,
and then I started doing stand-up. And then I remember being on stage. So like the 360 was like, right, you can do your thing at the Albany Theatre, be as unapologetically black as you want, but you can still do a Lilt commercial and be the voice of a parrot and be like, oh, right, shit, that's good money though. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't put that link together that as a comic, you could do voiceover work and stuff like this. Do you know what I mean? But no, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. I'm sure everyone else here has enjoyed, having you as a guest. And this has been your beginning, middle, and end. Thank you very much, Slim. Show some love. Hey, what's up? Thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. Now, a lot goes into making each episode. I know you hear my voice, but there's a team behind the scenes who help make it. And if you did enjoy it, I'd really, really appreciate it if you could show the love to them by giving us 5 stars. And if you also have the time, please leave us a review. It's always appreciated and we love reading the comments. And of course, we want to keep making it better. Thank you for listening and have a great day. Peace.